Welcome back to Superior Sunrise. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so we take time during this auction to recognize that and go pink during this auction. And here with me today is breast cancer survivor Anna Pamplin. Anna, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely,
and
my
being
pleasure.
On.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get started. Let's talk about you and your story.
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer 5 years ago. It was 5 years ago this July, and it came out of nowhere. So, I think everybody has this idea, like, look for all these signs and symptoms, and I didn't really have one. So it happened upon a surgery that was unexpected. And at 37 years old, it is never the call that you're thinking you're going to get. But I knew God had only placed that in my life if there was something that needed to be seen or done, and if there was a mountain to be moved and he needed to use me to do it, then I was there for it. So we did it.
Well, and one of the reasons that you're here not only as a breast cancer survivor, but just talk about the Carity Foundation. And we've had folks on in years past from Carity, but Beverly and Lynn they're local,
yes.
So we have that aspect. But they really help a lot of women all across the United States.
They do.
They get a lot of pull from the ag industry, which is why we kind of think it's a good fit. But let's talk about the Carity Foundation and how they entered your story and how they helped you.
Yes. So the Carity Foundation was wonderful for us. My story happened right in the middle of 2020, so right in the middle of COVID. And we wanted to do cold capping. So we did, where we tried to save as much of our hair as we could, going through the whole process. And Carity really came in doing that. We had our own private, it was the wig room. It's really what they used as the wig room there at the Center for Cancer and Blood Disorders here in Weatherford. And my husband and I, Jeff, had our own special room, and he would do my cold capping through the whole process. I was lucky enough to be blessed with some insurance policies in place where the monetary need of Carity wasn't exactly what came into play for us, but it was the emotional support. It was the oncology massages that they provided. It was helping with appointments. It was all of the other things that you don't think of that come into play besides just saying, hey, I can't afford it, or hey, I don't have enough money, or hey, I don't have any insurance at all. Can you help get me in? And I was just so moved by what Lynn and Beverly were doing. When they reached out and asked me to be a part of the Beacon of Hope board, I was all in. How do we get out there? How do we help? How do we get the message out about who we are, what we do, and how we do it? And that was really something that was important to me. I knew that I had gone through it for a reason, and I knew that the story wasn't over yet. And so still helping Carity through that process, and whether that was the Stock Show Goes Pink. I think I've been at every survivor luncheon that we host that Riata is so graciously helps us with. It's doing all the things. It's more so just to get that message out of who they are, how they can help, and how people can show up.
Well, and I think that's one of the unique things about the Carity Foundation is that they really do. It's more than just treating, breast cancer. It's about treating the patient and the whole family.
Yes. And I do think that's the biggest key there is it's not just, there's so much more that happens than just the patient. I think the caregiver support is something that goes unnoticed by so many. When cancer affects you, it affects your whole family. But I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that they recognize that they come in, that they support that, and that they find ways to really take everybody up underneath their wing and give them all that love that everyone needs through that process.
Well, as we've talked to survivors and people that have walked through this process with Beverly and Lynn before, one of the things that always resonates with me is it doesn't matter what time of day it is, when it is, where it is. They pick up the phone, they show up, they're there, and they figure out whatever they need and help however they can, time and time again.
I've noticed that. Their cell phones. Their cell phones have got to ring off the clock. I know mine does sometimes, and it's like, hey, so-and-so just found out, how can you help? I get that phone call way more than I could ever imagine. I was blessed. I was very much blessed with Dr. Emily McLaughlin, who, when I was diagnosed, she helped me through the process. She had just been through it herself. So she had called and said, hey, tomorrow morning my girls are going to call you, and we're going to have all your appointments set up. And she's like, okay. Tuesday morning, my phone rang. It's like Thursday, you're seeing Dr. Anita Chow. Friday, you're going to go see Dr. Robin Young. Like, everything was lined out, and everybody doesn't have it that way, and I was really blessed, so I didn't know any different. So I get phone calls all the time too, like, hey, my friend was just diagnosed, or hey, my friend is going through this. What do you think? What do you need? What do you say? How do you support them? If I'm getting those phone calls just as a survivor, I can't imagine how their phones ring off the hook, but they're always there. They always show up with such love in their hearts too, and happy to do it. They're just happy to do it.
Yeah, no, well, and they're great. We love Carity and what they do, and like you said, as you mentioned, they do lots of great events all year long that help support them. I'm a big fan of the celebrity cutting during the NCHA Futurity. That's always goes over well. And you mentioned some of the other things. So, what are ways that people can get involved with Carity if they would like to get involved?
I would definitely recommend going to the website. You can go to carity.org and look up anything on there. But give myself a call. You can reach out to me, Beverly, Lynn, any of us. There are always organizations that are coming up wanting to support Carity. They're wanting to host their own events. We need people to show up at those events. We need people to help, to collect money, to share the message, to do all the things. And so there's a million ways that you can show up behind the scenes also and be on the front line. So definitely go to the website, look it up, call Lynn, call Beverly, call myself. Any of us are willing to help point you in the right direction.
Well, speaking of, so my son was up at North Texas this last weekend, and Carity had a booth there, and they were selling T-shirts, and we're giving the plug there. So it's all over North Texas and all across the United States, and we're super proud. Thank you so much for being on and sharing part of your story. We appreciate that, and we hope that we will help the next person down the line. So thank you, Anna, for that.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Stay tuned for more Superior Sunrise.